Sam, you still there?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Today, we have Sam Tucker, the Director of Glenvill Developments. And we're here to talk about this really, what I find a really exciting development in Melbourne. It's very rare that one can actually get access to such high quality developments from such a high quality developer within a price point that we are going to be very excited to share with you at. But before that, let's help me welcome Sam Tucker. Sam, thanks so much for joining in today.
No problems. Thanks for having me. Pleasure
Excellent.
to be here.
Excellent. Well, listen, before we start, I just wanted to ask you, are you a Dogs supporter or Melbourne Club supporter?
No, I'll be going for Melbourne tonight. My wife barracks for Melbourne.
Ah, well done. Okay. So now that we got that out of the way, and it's going to be a very exciting game from what I hear, let's root for the best team to win.
Yes.
But let's dovetail into this development, Sam. I have to admit, one of the first things that I got really intrigued with is actually the tagline of the world's most livable suburb. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I just want you to put that in the back of your mind for the time being, because I wanted to actually get from Sam, tell me a little bit about Glenvill, because not many people may have heard about Glenvill to begin with. What kind of developer are they and what's their background like, Sam?
Sure. Glenvill has been in business, probably one of the oldest developers in Australia, actually. We've been in business for 60 plus years. So our background started out in building display homes or new homes. And then from that, it grew into the biggest luxury home builder in Melbourne. So we focused in on the very affluent, most expensive suburbs in and around Melbourne, where a lot of people had the old tired homes, and then we would come in and custom design brand new homes for them. And then we created a huge following and are known probably as the best luxury custom builder in Melbourne, even still to today. From there, it's a family business. The current CEO and managing director, Len Warson, he came into the business in the early 90s. His father was the founder of Glenvill. And then when Len came into the business, we expanded into developments. So we actually had a very first development in Surfers Paradise up on the Gold Coast. We then ventured in, also had some developments in Los Angeles in America. From there, we focused back in on our Melbourne turf, and we've become known as probably urban renewal specialists. So what does that mean? It's basically taking infill sites, so within the suburbs, and redeveloping land that was previously used for other purposes. So during our time, we've developed the brickworks in Brunswick. We've also redeveloped the Coterie in Northcote, both infill, very close to the city, and used the heritage of the buildings to regenerate and deliver something really spectacular. From there, that's then moved into YarraBend. We're located only 6 kilometres from the Melbourne CBD on the Yarra River, and it has one of the most spectacular outlooks in Alphington, overlooking Kew back towards the city.
Wow. So essentially, correct me if I'm incorrect, it's not so much in terms of farmland that YarraBend is actually situated at, and also your pedigree, in terms of Glenvill's pedigree, is actually taking something that's already there, keeping the flavor and the tradition or the flavor of the buildings that are in that area and rebuilding it into something that's modernized and something that's more utility friendly for the community. Would that be correct?
Yeah, exactly right. So YarraBend is actually an old paper mills. So where they produce paper, they had the old trains running in and out, and it was the biggest paper production site in Australia at the time. So what we've done is we've paid homage to the heritage of the old paper mill site, and a lot of our buildings pay homage in terms of their design, their naming, and also we've kept the original boiler house and also the original house where they made the paper, called Fedrinia House. So they're two of the existing buildings that still remain on site that we are repurposing and creating to beautiful residences. Everything else has been cleared away for new sites, including parks, bike trails, river walks, but we always like to keep a section of the site and work with it to create something really special.
Well, then you actually marry the nostalgia of the location in the past and bringing modernity together so that the lifestyle is modernized, more efficient, and yet you still have that touch and feel of the years that have gone by, I reckon.
Exactly right. And within YarraBend, where the old railway used to run through, we're creating a very special paper trail, it's called, which is be very similar to the High Line in New York. This will become a fantastic feature of YarraBend and will be known all over Melbourne. People will come to visit this. So we've built this elevated walkway above the old railway, whereby it flows into the Health and Wellness Centre, which is like a resort style facility that everybody that lives within YarraBend has access to for free as part of living there within YarraBend.
Wow, okay. This actually would be a nice segue into what I wanted to talk about next, which is what are the components for YarraBend and that's being put together? Can you help drive?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So YarraBend is founded on a number of pillars, and hence why that's making it the world's most livable suburb, because everything's been taken into consideration. There is a sustainability pillar. There is a technology pillar. There's an art and design pillar. And there's also food and hospitality. So all of these wonderful pillars combined presents such an amazing opportunity to live in the most exciting community in Melbourne.
Wow. Okay. So when you're talking about all these components coming together, it sounds to me that it's a huge development. But at the end of the day, the worrisome part is that it becomes too compressed and too compact. But when I visited the site, it's actually very well spaced out. Can you elaborate more in terms of how these developments are positioned or the components are positioned within this development?
Yeah, sure. There's a lot of huge open streets and parklands within the development. It is actually about a 15-hectare site. So if you get the opportunity to view it from above, you'll actually see, I guess, the breadth of how large it is. So this is about creating a community where people want to live and they have everything at their doorstep. So by doing that, we've created, I said, very wide roads, a lot of walking tracks, bike tracks. We have electric car charging stations. There's 4 parks in total. There's a beautiful food and beverage precinct where we where we have a lot of high-end restaurants coming in. One of Australia's biggest beer brewers is coming in and putting in a pub, also a place for the community to come and meet and drink and enjoy. So it is very spread out in terms of the offering. So it's not about maximising the amount of properties we could have on the site. It is actually about creating that community.
Understood. So once you actually have all the components actually put together, and if they're actually situated very, very logistically friendly, it becomes a natural flow through as well for all the people who are living there, and also for the community that actually will also benefit from the value that's generated from these components coming together.
Yeah, very much so. And what we've noticed in the last few years is when we first started, Alphington is a relatively small suburb in Melbourne on the Yarra River that not many people know about. It's a hidden pocket. But the way we describe it, it's where nature meets the city. So you interface with the Yarra River, with the walking tracks, which we're then integrating back into our development. And the benefit of that is people that have bought in there and are living in there have seen fantastic capital growth in the few years. Some examples are our Parkview apartments, which we settled and residents moved in last year. So about Christmas and January earlier this year. Some of the people that have actually resold their apartments in there have seen anywhere from $40,000 to $50,000 for a 1-bedroom increase in prices. And the 2 bedrooms have increased in prices from $60,000 to $80,000 in only 2 to 3 years from when they were first purchased off the plan.
Wow. That means the demand for the type of development to begin with, let alone the vicinity and the amenities that's within a development that gives it probably one up against the other surrounding communities that may only look but may not be able to access some of it? Because I understand that some of the components are only meant for the people who live at YarraBend, right?
Yeah, correct. Yes. So the Health and Wellness Centre is a perfect example of that. It's like an international spa retreat is probably the best way of describing it. There's an indoor 25-metre pool, an outdoor 25-metre pool, onsen spas. We have a techno gym where you can run virtual classes against other people on the other side of the world. Or, you can look in the mirror and get instructional videos in the mirror on how to lift weights. There's massage rooms, there's yoga rooms. But, it's all in a very much resort style, very heavily vegetated, landscaped, and a real peaceful, beautiful setting. That's one of the main things that the main attributes that this development offers for people that live there. We also offer a tech concierge. So basically, everybody that lives and moves into YarraBend has access to a concierge, which effectively will help them with all their technical problems, issues, or even setting up a TV or, fixing the internet, whatever it might be. They're on hand, on call to come and help you by just picking up the phone.
Wow. So a lot of support, a lot of commitment from the developer to make sure that anybody who actually purchases or lives at YarraBend are going to be able to enjoy all these benefits, not just the amenities that's been provided.
Exactly right.
You definitely save a pretty bundle as well, because getting people to just come to your house to just fix something could be quite an expensive endeavor here in Australia. Yeah, and one more, if you're actually a foreign buyer and you're actually thousands of miles away, having someone trusted from the developer nonetheless will be able to add even more comfort to your minds, knowing that it's going to be done to spec and done to spec all the time. Absolutely. Right. Well, it sounds to me, you've got a lot of components coming together. You've got technology coming together. You've got lifestyle coming together. You've got the nature part coming together.
Want and need in today's communities and lifestyles. So that's where we've actually roadmapped and designed these pillars to ensure that we are creating a mini city, ultimately, where everything is available at the doorstep. There's going to be the shopping centre, Alphington Square, that'll be there also, which will offer major supermarkets like Coles and Aldi. We'll also offer movie cinemas, big gymnasiums and other specialty stores, childcare, medical and the likes. So people really do have everything at their doorstep. And the tagline, the world's most livable suburb, was actually termed not by us ourselves, but by international trend forecasters, the Future Laboratory out of the UK in London. So the Future Laboratory, I should say, they looked at all the elements that have been put into this amazing new suburb, YarraBend, and they've forecasted by the year 2025, it will indeed be the world's most livable suburb. So that is by trend forecasters in London. And this is what they look at every day. So this is not something that we take lightly. We are here to deliver the world's most livable suburb, where people from all around the world will go, oh, I know that YarraBend. It has that beautiful paper trail like the High Line in New York. It has those amazing health and wellness facilities, and it integrates with the Yarra River.
Wow, I took the train. had the opportunity of taking the train from Southern Cross Station to Alphington. I mean, one would think that, it's far, far away because you need to have a lot of space to contain whatever components that are there. But I'm very happy to share with you, it took me best 20 minutes to get to Alphington Station from Southern Cross on a busy weekday. And then from Alphington Station, it took me 3 minutes, a 4-minute walk, literally walk to the site. I mean, that's how close it is. And I walk slow.
Connectivity is a really important thing. And that's what also, helps us being termed that world's most livable suburb. We are only a couple of 100 metres from the Eastern Freeway that heads straight into the Melbourne city. We have the train line, as you said, only 400 metres from YarraBend. We have buses that continue in through Clifton Hill or in through Kew down to the Kew Junction. And not to mention the access to the private schools. We're within 8 kilometres of the best private schools in Melbourne.
Some of the concerns that people who may be Googling up in terms of where YarraBend is, they may actually be seeing that there is a highway right across the development per se. But I just wanted to share with everybody, that's not a 110 kilometer or not a 100-kilometer highway. It's a 60-kilometer at best freeway, I think. It's not even a highway, it's a freeway mainly.
Yeah, it's an unusual term. It's probably the only road in Victoria or Melbourne that I'm aware of that's called a highway, but it's only 60 kilometers an hour. It's just an unusual term that's been there forever.
Some of the people who have actually reached out to me said, would it be very noisy? Would it be very, very dusty because it's so close to the highway where everybody's zooming past? And I'm like, no, that's not a highway. It's called that, but it's not.
It's a residential main road, but no different from any of the other main roads at all.
Yeah, and for our viewers in Asia, just to let you know, over here in Australia, and take it from me, if it is a 60-kilometer road, the fastest you drive is 59. Because if you try to do 61, good luck. Things get enforced pretty quickly and pretty strictly because they really want to make sure that everybody who's on the road stays safe on the road. And for that attribute, I really congratulate the mindset of the people and the mindset of the authorities here as well. Can I just ask you with regard to the offering that's currently being offered at YarraBend, what's available?
At present, you guys have the opportunity of purchasing in one of our most beautiful buildings, which forms part of the Artisan Precinct. So Cubic House is going to be it overlooks the Artisan Precinct, the food and beverage precinct. It's surrounded by a beautiful central landscaped courtyard where we're actually engaging local artists to create some sculptures to go within this beautiful central courtyard. Overlooking the courtyard, then is that food and beverage precinct that I talked to, where we have some amazing restaurants. We'll have a new pub going in there, coffee, cafes, and the likes. From level 4 upwards, there are beautiful city views. So we sit very high in Alphington, and it looks back down across the Yarra River towards the city. So as you would have seen from our display, when you come up there on, level 3 and 4, there are unbelievable city views. It feels like the city is within throwing distance. So it is a fantastic location, the Cubic House, that you have the opportunity to purchase or invest in. It is probably one of the best buildings that we're bringing to market in YarraBend.
I think one of the things that really appeals to me is that you can see the city. It's close to the city, but not close enough, thank you, because I don't want to be caught in the traffic jam. I don't want to be caught in the hustle and bustle. And the beauty of it as well is that everything's within walking distance already once all the components come together. So the city is, for me, a secondary place if I want to do something else, but it's all within a doorstep.
And I might add to that as well, some of the other community facilities that I didn't talk about before is we offer the Hub. It's a community gathering place. So a lot of people with the change in working environments from COVID, now a lot of people obviously work from home, and the way we live and work is very different these days. So the Hub that we've created has workstations where people that live within the development can go and set up their computer and work like they're at the office. Not only within that hub do we have the working facilities and shared desks, we also have a private dining room whereby residents can hire that out to hold a dinner party. So if you wanted to bring in a private chef and have it catered for a special event, maybe a 50th birthday, whatever it might be, you have access to those facilities as part of being a resident of YarraBend. Not only is that all that offers, but there's going to be a rooftop theatre and a bar within there also.
Homeowners who want to live there, are they coming in a lot from investors? Are the investors mainly from overseas or local? Just to give our listeners a flavour. Yeah.
Look, YarraBend is very unique and different from every other development in Melbourne. As I said, it's a master plan community. So we have offerings for every budget and lifestyle. I think our youngest buyer is 18. She's a first home buyer. She's bought an apartment, saved up, very exciting for her. And our eldest buyer, I think, is 81 from memory. So we have everything from people buying their first home to people that are buying from living in large $4-5 million homes that want a big 3-bedroom apartment that's low maintenance, lock up and leave. Then obviously we have an amazing offering for investors. That being said, because we have so many people that are actually bought to live there, it means there's limited stock available for renting, which is great from an investor point of view because it puts upward pressure on rental prices. So that means that you get larger rental returns than a normal development would, because there's so few properties available for people to rent. So as an investor, it's an amazing opportunity because our last building that we settled in Christmas and January this year, we had queues of people lining up to inspect the properties to live there because they know how amazing YarraBend is, that it's going to be the world's most livable suburb and they have access to all these amazing facilities.
Well, for our listeners and our viewers, I just wanted to share with you, I am not in Melbourne City itself. I'm close to Melbourne City and I'm in a place that's regional or considered regional. And already where I am in Geelong, there are not enough properties for rent. I can only imagine the pressure of finding a place to rent in Melbourne, let alone within a development that's actually not just very well connected, but very well developed, that actually has all the components that are coming in together. I'm going to do a quick segue and ask you to not talk about YarraBend for a while, but I wanted to ask you, Sam, properties around the area. I mean, look, I could rent there too, right? I mean, would they be cheaper to rent?
They would definitely be cheaper to rent because they don't have the access to all the amazing facilities, the parklands, the riverfront walk that integrates into the development. People want to live in YarraBend because it has such an amazing offering. You cannot find a development like this anywhere in Melbourne. You can find them in the land estates that have been developed, but then we're talking an hour's drive from Melbourne at least. So a lot of these brand new estates are miles and miles and miles away. But you know, we are in a city. We look at the city. We have the Yarra River that flows into the city right at our doorstep. So the rental prices are definitely higher in YarraBend, but people pay higher prices for the amenity, the beautiful facilities, and where nature meets the city. They could go up the street and rent something cheaper. But of course, they don't have access to everything that we offer through Glenvill Developments at YarraBend.
True, very true. I completely concur with you. And again, ladies and gentlemen, you know, when he talks about nature coming into the doorsteps, it really means nature coming to the doorsteps, because I actually walked from the show unit to the park. And I think within 5 minutes, I was already there. I was looking at the Yarra River. I was like, wow, this is close. This is really close. And I went with a friend of mine and he was saying they actually walk their dogs on the weekend and it's actually very well connected. It is very safe. And on top of that, it's very green. Very, very, in my opinion, it's very unusual for being so close to the city and having all that benefits.
Yeah, and the development along the Yarra River there, we have huge amount of golf courses as well. Mm-hmm. So you're literally surrounded by parklands, the river, and some amazing golf courses. Latrobe Golf Course, which is only probably about a 300-meter drive from YarraBend, is one of the most affluent golf courses or private golf courses in Melbourne. I think it's upwards of $9,000 a year to be a member just to play at this golf course. This is the caliber of the suburb that you would be buying into. It's surrounded by nature, big, beautiful homes. People that have lived in the area were generally born in the area. They've lived there their whole life and they don't want to go anywhere else because of the beautiful environment, the landscape and the outlooks, the access to the city. And of course, if you love golf, you've got golf courses everywhere.
Sam, can I just ask you, if I were a family man and I had children that I wanted to actually send off to Melbourne to study, how far are the universities from YarraBend in itself? I mean, would my kid have to drive very far?
No, not at all. Because I mentioned that we have access to the Eastern Freeway, which is a couple of 100 meters from YarraBend. It would be as simple as jumping onto that freeway, and you would be at Melbourne Uni within 10 to 15 minutes. Melbourne Uni is so close. But we also have access to Latrobe Uni, which is in the northern suburbs a little bit further on. That may be a 20-minute drive. So you've got the best private schools. You've got access to Melbourne Uni and Latrobe Uni, plus also Ivanhoe Grammar, which is just up the road. You're really spoilt for choice. Everything is literally almost on your doorstep.
One of the questions I also have received is because business people, because they travel or now due to COVID, they like to work from home as well. What about the fiberization of the homes within YarraBend in itself? Are they capable of high-speed data and data transfer and internet?
Yeah, most definitely. We are delivering the highest possible national broadband internet to all properties within YarraBend. We're also offering free Wi-Fi to the residents within the parks. So you could go and sit in the park and access free NBN fast internet access.
Excellent. And can you share a little bit about security and safety so that our listeners will know what kind of thoughts have gone into that?
Yeah, sure, of course. Every building within YarraBend has CCTV, so we can, the owner, the building managers can ensure the safety is there. So we have the building managers which look after each building. You can only access a building with a special swipe card. That swipe card will only allow you to go from your car parks to the level that you live on. So if you're living on level 4, you would not be able to access the level 3 or level 5, only level 4 and where your basement car park is. That's the same thing happens in terms of the entry points into all of our buildings. You need to swipe in to be able to get into the building. So delivery people or outsiders, the only way they can get access is by pressing buttons and then you would allow them and unlock the front door. So security is a real premium. It's the same in entering the basement car park. You have a remote. Only you can get in to these places. There's cameras within our retail areas. It is an extremely well protected and high security, but it is one of the safest suburbs in Melbourne as well. So that's always just precautionary.
Excellent. And when the shopping mall opens up or shopping center opens up, can the spillover to the central parks be accessed by the public as well? Would public be able to get in?
Yeah, most definitely. We will have bike trails and walking tracks that will lead from the shopping center through to the Yarra River Trail. We are rebuilding the river walk along YarraBend. So we have 300 meters of direct riverfront access. So our last release will be our most expensive and most prestigious in probably a couple of years' time. But those people will have direct access to the Yarra River. So all of the paths, everything's interconnected. But as I said, very wide streets, great surveillance. So very safe place to live.
At this juncture, I need to ask, would it cost me a lot in terms of the body corp fees because of all these facilities that are being provided?
Yeah, it's a great question because a lot of people do ask that all the time. The beauty of YarraBend is because of the number of properties that are actually being delivered, it means that the body corporate fees are able to be kept to very reasonable market rates because it's spread across the whole development. You're not one of 100 people paying for the facilities. You're one of 1,000 plus people paying for those facilities. So it allows us to keep the body corporate fees, as I said, market competitive with a normal development down the road that doesn't have any of these facilities.
For those fellas who are car heads, I mean, they love cars per se. I know that in most developments, it's not an unlimited number of cars that are available. What would the car park ratio be like for the development that you're selling right now? If I bought a 1-bedder versus a 2 or 3-bedder, would that number of cars also increase because of the size of the unit?
Yeah, most definitely. Every apartment within YarraBend receives 1 car space. So generally you would have 1 to 2 people living in a 1-bedroom. But the way the world is changing, public transport, Ubers, scooters, bikes are becoming more of a premium. That being said, we offer a 1-to-1 car ratio for a 1-bedroom and a 2-bedroom. Once you start getting into 3 bedrooms, there's 2 car spaces. The larger 3 bedrooms have 3 car spaces. Plus, we have an array of visitor parking throughout the streets in the shopping centre or food and beverage district, and also within each building.
If biking is going to be a very big part of lifestyle, which I think, and it should be because it's a healthy lifestyle as well, would the car spaces also contain a bike rack, or would there be some place to put its storage?
Yeah, so generally each one of our buildings has dedicated areas for bikes. So it won't be specifically next to your car because it would take up much more room. There are dedicated spaces within the basement of each building. Plus, we also have bike hoops, which is bike storage on the ground throughout the development. So if you did want to ride down and see a friend somewhere further down, you'd find very easy access to a bike hoop to be able to lock up your bike.
Just in case if there's an emergency, is there a way to connect with the community if there's an emergency within a unit or within a building itself?
Yes, most definitely. There are building managers that obviously look after the security. They're monitoring everything that's going on. So if there are any issues, they're the first to pick up the phone to ensure that any issue is sorted there immediately. So there's always that passive surveillance that's there being looked after by those building managers.
Well, I also believe that you guys have invested in an app as well, where everything is within that app.
Yeah, correct. So we have our own YarraBend app, which gives you access to a variety of things. It allows you to book your move in or move out if you're a resident. It gives you access to the amount of people in the gym or the movie theatre. So you can book everything through the app within the YarraBend development. It has community updates. It talks about events. It has chat.
I had a personal issue with regard to moving a piano into the place where I live at. And she says, oh, not an issue. Even if you live in a townhouse, it's not an issue. In fact, you guys have had a person who moved a baby grand into a townhouse onto the first floor. And I was scratching my head, like, how do you maneuver a baby grand up there? And she goes, very simple. It's called coordination, and it's called making sure that the calendars sync. Because before you do the final fixes, you move the piano in first. Exactly. I think that's excellent. And you guys have a relationship manager as well to help moving in, coordinating, and making sure.
Yeah, very much so. So that's all part of the owners' corporation. They assist with all of the move-ins. They lock down the lifts, so you have direct lift access to move in and out in your dedicated time. But everything is there. If there's any issues, everything is looked after by the building managers and owners' corporation. If you find something quite unique, like wanting to move in a piano, that is there at your service to be able to help you achieve what you need to do.
Yeah, so for big and bulky items, not an issue. It can be done. It's just called coordination. For the benefit of our viewers, I just wanted to play the video that's currently on YouTube that you guys can also watch. So, Sam, let's just take a few minutes to let me just play this video, yeah?
Sure.
Welcome to YarraBend. I'm Sam Tucker from Glenvill, and it's my absolute pleasure to give you a tour of Melbourne's most exciting inner-city master plan community. As the name of the development alludes to, we're located on the banks of the Yarra in Alphington, with Kew a stone's throw across the other side of the river. This has to be one of the most aspirational developments in Melbourne, perfectly located at only 6.5 kilometres from the CBD. Well connected, YarraBend is moments from the Eastern Freeway, 450 metres from Alphington train station, and for those who'd rather cycle, the main Yarra Trail offers a scenic commute to the city. With 8 golf courses within 10 minutes drive, bellbirds singing, spectacular city and river views, YarraBend is where nature meets the city. Now, if you've been looking for your new home, there's a reason why YarraBend has been forecast to be the world's most livable suburb. Not only because of its amazing location, but because of Glenville's desire to innovate and create a community that redefines how we live. Come and have a look. Founded on 6 visionary pillars of technology, sustainability, food and entertainment, health and wellness, knowledge, plus art and design. YarraBend has been designed by some of Australia's most awarded architects. From home automation to a dedicated concierge for any tech-related dramas. There is even free Wi-Fi in 3 of YarraBend's parks. Book facilities through the YarraBend app, or even control your home by voice. Hey Google, put the blinds down. YarraBend was dubbed the world's first Tesla town, with Tesla Powerwalls as a standard inclusion in our Parkview homes. Informed by sustainability, YarraBend also includes electric car charge points, energy-efficient mood lighting, green rooftops, and underground water tanks. Our artisan food hub will offer restaurants, wine bars, providors, and cafes carefully curated by renowned restaurateur Scott Pickett, owner of Estelle. Wrapped around Artisan Park, this new foodie destination will mirror the streetscapes that Melbourne is famous for. Let's talk health and wellness, where future-focused technology meets human engineering. YarraBend's Wellness Centre will include a techno gym virtual studio, world-class gym equipment, indoor and outdoor pools, yoga and massage rooms, and onsen spas. YarraBend offers resort-style living that prioritises well-being and community engagement. Located on the former Alfie's and Paper Mill site, YarraBend is a 14-hectare community offering a diverse range of homes to suit every lifestyle. From completed homes to terraces to townhouses, lofts, warehouse-style apartments, and boutique riverfront residences. Proudly developed by Glenvill, we're backed by over 60 years of history. As for YarraBend, you can have confidence knowing that development is fully funded, over 50% sold, and already home to over 150 residents. Construction and sales are booming, and there's never been a better time to invest in your future in YarraBend. That's why Glenvill is never ordinary.
Well done. Well, thanks so much. It's actually very informative. It encapsulates exactly what you've just been sharing as well. And all I can say is that based on what I see, even in the regional areas of Victoria, the prices have only one direction to move in.
Exactly right.
And I keep telling people who are looking at real estate, it's never a good time to just sit back and watch. The prices will continue to grow. It's good to just invest in early, get in early, and wait to see the returns coming in over time. And the time is actually not very long. I think it's going to be quite short. When will the development be fully completed? Okay.
Gosh, it's a question we get asked a lot. Our aim is to bring the riverfront section of the development to market in probably about the next 12 to 18 months. Then that's probably going to be a year's selling time. So, and then probably another couple of years to construct. So we're probably still around 4 to 5 years from being fully completed. With that being said, the most important parts in terms of the health and wellness and the community hub will all be delivered within the next 18 months.
Great. Now comes the really tough question that I need to put you on the spot for.
Oh, gosh. What are you doing?
Sam, what are the incentives and what can we offer our interested clients if they're interested to take action now?
Gosh, you really have put me on the spot today, haven't you? Well, I'd love everybody to just buy into the development, but if you've got anybody that is interested in buying today, I'm happy to offer some incentives for them to buy today and make that reservation. I'd be very happy to include blinds to every window and door in the apartments that they purchase. What I'll also look to do is cover the foreign investment application fee. So obviously, as being a foreigner, if you don't have residency, you need to pay to have that approved. We would happily cover that for you. In addition, what I can offer you today also is basically underpinning a rent guarantee in terms of getting the first tenant into the property. So if at any point the property settles and we haven't found a tenant for you in that period, we will pay all the rent for you. So you will never have a point where there is no rent coming in. You will have rent from day one regardless. That's what I'm able to offer people that are willing to reserve and purchase today.
Excellent. And how does booking start?
How does what start? Sorry?
So someone who just wants to book?
Yes.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching, I just give you the lowdown on this. In order to capitalize on all the incentives that Sam mentioned just now, speak to any one of us at Jalin Realty, wherever you are in any country that you are at. Our representatives are there. And if you can just reach out to them, telling them that you're interested in YarraBend, they will show you what's available. And really, ladies and gentlemen, it's not a lot, because at the end of the day, it's a very exclusive project. And essentially, they're selling by themselves. But Jalin Realty has managed to get a very small allocation to bring to our valued viewers that they can actually tap and get access to this. So speak to the person that you're actually connected to in Jalin, get them to actually explain to you in terms of the booking. Booking is very simple, a very nominal deposit. And once the deposit is done, I believe then the documentation process starts, and then a 10% is required. And then there's nothing else to pay until settlement. Would that be correct, Sam?
That's correct. Exactly right.
Sam, when is settlement, so that they know in their minds?
Yeah, so we're looking to start construction on this particular precinct probably in the middle of next year. So from there, we're talking about a 2-year build. So at this point in time, we're about 2.5 years away from completion. That being said, if you buy today, you're going to see huge capital growth between that during that period, because what's going to happen is the health and wellness centre will be delivered. The food and beverage precinct will be delivered. The community hub will be delivered. So there'll be even higher demand for your properties when they come time to settle. So you will see the benefit and the increase in the Melbourne residential market, where the market here is absolutely booming and it is red hot. Jalin are our exclusive international partners. So you can only buy through Jalin into YarraBend for this particular building cubic house. So take the opportunity. As I said, there is a limited number of apartments available because they do sell out so quickly. But Jalin are a very respected partner of ours, and we'd love to give you, their clients, opportunity to purchase.
Thank you so much, Sam. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and talk to us today. And for those who are still sitting on the fence and wanting more information or want more clarity, you can always reach out to any of the Jalin support staff that we have around the Asia Pac region, or even you can reach out to Jalin Australia, where we are able to answer your questions and connect you with the YarraBend people directly. And if they have any questions pertaining to the development that we've not covered today, I believe Sam will be more than happy to also share with you certain insights. On my part, from what I've seen so far, ladies and gentlemen, buy property and wait. It never goes wrong. Well, thanks again, Sam. Thanks so much.
No problem.
All the very best to your team today.
Lovely to meet everybody. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.